Fernando Alonso has massive bollocks.
Welcome back to This Week in Motoring. What a week it has been, so let's start with the big headlines. And obviously the biggest one is the return of Formula 1 with the Bahrain Grand Prix. So what happened? Well, Verstappen made it painfully obvious how this year's going to go, as after 10 laps he was already 7 fucking seconds ahead of Leclerc, the useless Monaco bastards, and 10 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. Then Ferrari showed Leclerc how the rest of his year was going to go by breaking down. And since Carlos Sainz has about as much race pace as my dog, this led to Red Bull taking an easy 1-2 with Verstappen cruising to victory. So yeah, well done, you fucking did it, you little shit. Are you fucking happy? Well done. But the good thing about it is nobody actually cared. For the majority of the race, we didn't actually see Verstappen. We saw the man himself, the grande cojones unit, Fernando Alonso. This man has been in Formula 1 longer than I've been alive, and he placed third in an Aston Martin. Fernando had a race for the ages. On lap 1, he dropped behind the two Mercedes after Mr. Maple Syrup hit his rear right going into turn 4. Then on lap 13, he overtook F1's answer to Mesut Ozil into turn 4. Then on lap 38, he sends it down the inside of Lewis Hamilton going into turn 9 and 10. He doesn't lock it up and is ahead, gets a better exit onto the straight and keeps the position. Turn 9 and 10. Do you know how outrageous that is? Turn 9 and 10. He didn't lock it. He just... incredible move. I think... genuinely one of the best overtakes we're going to get this season. Then, after sending Mercedes into crisis mode... No! God, please, no! No! On lap 45, he causes Sainz to lock up going into turn 9 and 10, and then overtakes him in the DRS zone. Absolutely incredible racing, bringing home P3 after the Ferrari masterclass. On top of this, for Aston Martin, Lance Stroll, who looked like a danger to other road users on the Friday practice, managed to perform a miracle of a recovery and bring home P6 on the Sunday, so fair play to him for not shitting the bed. Now, over to the eventual race winners, Red Bull, and all they have really said since winning the race is that the Aston looks like their car, and we all knew that anyway, so who cares? Really? I mean, I don't really want to listen to Christian Horner much more than I already do anyway. Now, moving away from masterclasses to disaster classes, Ferrari. Fred, the man who wishes he was dead, has ordered a full investigation into Leclerc's DNF. Most reports have said that it was a failure with the energy store and the controller's electronics, which were both replaced before the race, meaning he has used 2 of his allocated 2. And taking any more will cause a 10-place grid penalty. This wasn't the only issue Leclerc had, as Ted Kravitz shed some light on an unknown issue he had with his start.
The fast starting Charles Leclerc.
Sounds messy. Another team whose weekend didn't exactly go to plan was Mercedes, as they had a whole host of issues. For starters, the bug-eyed Tory somehow managed to finish behind Lance Stroll, who had broken his bones less than 3 weeks prior. And Hamilton obviously finished behind Alonso, which has all resulted in a massive meltdown at Mercedes. First of all, Ham Sandwich has said that Mercedes have actually gone backwards over the winter, saying that the engineers didn't listen to him about the car.
Still, could be worse.
And it is, because many of the engineers and staff within the team are thinking of giving up on this season altogether and only focusing on next year.
Still, could be worse.
And it is, as there are reports that the factory that makes the Mercedes engine could give priority to Aston Martin if Mercedes don't get their shit together. I mean, how shit do you have to be for your own team to prioritise another team? Like, I mean, what? That doesn't make sense. You're so bad. You're so shit that your own company has decided to help a different company. I've punched the mic out of confusion. But what?
I'm extremely confused. You're confused. I'm fucking confused, bro.
Me too.
And on top of this, Wilderness Explorer Russell has said that Red Bull are likely going to win every race this year, as he doesn't see anyone challenging them. I feel this is probably a bit dramatic, but what do you expect from someone who uses the word crikey?
Crikey.
And maybe Tory Boy is right, because Verstappen during the last half of the race had some issues with his car, causing him to have to cruising to a 25-second victory over another team. Maybe Tory Boy was right.
Crikey.
Moving away from the front runners into the very back of the grid, where McLaren have had the worst start to the season. First of all, Windows 10 on new boy Piastri's steering wheel crashed, so he pitted for another wheel, and then that one also died. Something tells me he's going to be issuing a new statement very soon. Things were not much better on the other side of the garage, as Lando's NOS addiction became very apparent, as the team had to stop 6 times to fill his canister up. Probably, I don't actually know, they just kind of stopped and they put air in his car. I don't really know what it was, I wasn't listening. But, you know, he ended the race 2 laps down, so I can only assume it was NOS or something. Wasn't a great start for the Mango Men. Or papayas, some sort of South American tropical fruit. Or maybe Southern Asian. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I've failed geography, I think. Staying near the bottom, and Alpine's Esteban Ocon may have had an even worse time. During the grid lineup, he accidentally put his car slightly to the left, which earned him a 5-second penalty.
Still, could be worse.
Then, when he came in to serve this penalty, the team did not leave enough time before making the pit stop, meaning he got another penalty.
Still, could be worse.
Then, when he came in to serve the penalty for not serving the penalty, he sped in the pit lane, causing him to get another 5-second penalty.
Still, could be worse.
Then, when he came to serve this penalty, the FIA blamed him for Red Bull's cost cap breach, Ferrari's overpowered engine, Liegate, Crashgate, Spygate, and the Nazi invasion of Poland.
Still, could be worse.
Then he retired after the threat of the FIA blaming Abu Dhabi 2021 on him and having to deal with all of the Hamilton fanboys. Moving on to a team that had a somewhat decent race, Alex Albon managed to drag that shitbox of a Williams into 10th place from 15th on the grid, with the American not too far behind in P12 after an exceptional opening lap.
Simply as the American.
In other motorsport news, Jenson Button is going to be taking part in the 3 Cup Series in NASCAR. Good for him, I guess. Moving on. Lamborghini have announced their new electric motor in a long and complicated TikTok video. But to summarise, the Aventador was molested by the Duracell bunny and now runs on AA batteries. It should be noted the batteries are not included. In more interesting Lamborghini news, they have also announced the Huracan's successor can be expected in late 2024. Mini has announced that their 2024 Cooper EV will have a minimum range of 240 miles, which is good news for, I don't know, my mum. She had a Mini. Yeah, I guess her. You're welcome, mum. Now, do you want a getaway car? You do. Well, some consumer advice here. Don't get a Tesla, as 2 people accused of stealing a lot of tech were caught in Georgia after stopping to fill their Tesla up with electricity.
Detect this pedestrian here. Check it out. And it even can detect the difference between a sedan and a pickup truck.
Lancia are reported to be reviving their company after 12 years of no cars as an electric vehicle company, which is a disgrace. How are you going to waste the sounds and engines like the one in the Stratos just to be a bit friendly to Planet Mother? Bollocks. I will happily shave 50 years off my lifetime if the Stratos comes back. So to summarise this week, Red Bull have won the F1 2023 championship, Alonso has massive bollocks, Hamilton's being ignored, Lando has a NOS addiction, Ocon's an F1 terrorist, batteries are not included with a new Lamborghini. See you next week.